So look, when we talk about fat, meat, and bone, the reason why this conversation is important is because, look, is it fair to say that you can be busy? You can be expending a lot of energy as an entrepreneur. You be doing a lot of different things, but not earning money and getting results. Somebody help me out. Is that a fair statement to make? Right? I've done it. There have been days where I've spent the majority of my time playing around my CRM, debating whether or not I'm going to use one tool or another, spending time about should I go to this social event? I like this video better than the other. You could spend time organizing who you're going to talk to. People spend a lot of time doing that, right? Spend a lot of time pontificating. I think, what am I going to do today, right? Because I don't necessarily have an agenda. I just woke up and said, man, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do today. So I don't know. I'm going to jump online and say hi and hello to a couple people and give some hand claps and finger taps. And, you look up and then the day is gone and you're like, what in the world happened, right? We've been there. I know I've been there. I'll be honest about it, right? We're going to address that tonight, right? We're going to talk about the fat, meat, and bone, the things that are most important, the things that are important, but maybe doesn't impact the bottom line. And we're going to talk about things that we do that sometimes have an impact, but not the impact that we need it to be in order to be successful entrepreneurs. And so one of the questions I'm going to ask individuals, is going to be a little bit of audience participation, is when we talk about the bone in your business, what do you think are the top 3 to 4 most important things you have to do on a daily basis? What are the most important things that have to happen? And if these things don't happen, you don't have a business. What do you think those things are? Anybody? Come on now. What do you think the top 3 or 4 things that you have to do? And this is just not being a PPLSI entrepreneur. I mean, it's an entrepreneur, period. What are the top things you must do? If these things don't happen, they're mission critical, you might also go get a job and hang it up. What do you think those things are?
Consistency.
Plan. Yep.
Okay, plan. What else?
Consistency.
Consistency. Okay. What else?
Personal development.
Yeah. Very important. What else? I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
For me, I would say focusing on client fulfillment, like the clients that I do have, making sure they're happy, and I'm doing what I have to do, to my part of the bargain.
Yes.
And look at how focusing on getting new clients and just looking at ways that I could let other people know about what I do.
I like it. I like it. Particularly that part, I'll let other people know what I do. What else?
I was going to say execution and share.
Okay. I like that execution, especially that share part. I'm going somewhere with that. Thank you, Ms. Harris. What else? One more.
Always keeping your goals in front of you.
That's very important. I like that too. I like it.
Follow up.
All right.
Follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up.
Follow up, follow up, follow up. All right. I'm playing a game of Jeopardy here. I should have brought Jeopardy music. All right. Let's get into it. What's the bone? The revenue generating activity. Can we all agree that if you are not inviting new people to learn about your business on a daily basis, then nothing else matters. Nothing else matters.
Yeah.
You can personally develop all day, every day. You can goal set all day, every day. You can focus on all these things. But if you are not inviting new people on a daily basis to learn about your business, none of the other stuff matters. It doesn't matter. That's the number one thing you should be focused on as an entrepreneur day in and day out. The question you should ask yourself is, how many people are going to learn about my business today? And if you can't answer that question, you're not going to have a business. All right, that's the bone. That's the foundation. Doesn't matter how muscular you are in the other areas. If you don't have bones, there's nothing for the muscle to sit on. Right? And of course, part of the exposure process is knowing what tools you should be using. Or to be transparent with you, what tools work best for you. People ask me all the time. Now, look, there are certain tools that I encourage people to use because I've seen historically which tools tend to work best. But at the same time, when someone asks me what's the best tool, I tell them the tool that you like most. That's the tool that you're going to be more inclined to share. That's the tool that you're going to be more excited about. The prospect is going to feel that excitement, that enthusiasm, that commitment, right? And they're going to respond accordingly. So that's the number one thing. Above all else, nothing else matters. And the wrong information can't fall on the right person. Because if a person is looking, if they're looking to level up, if they're looking for a solution, it just is what it is. Some will, some won't. So what? Someone's waiting. That's part of the bone. The other part of the bone, to make sure you have a strong foundation in your business, that you're doing the things that matter the most. If you're not generating revenue, once again, you're not going to last long. Yeah, I share the information with people because I'm committed, as you all know. I want to see families and entrepreneurs level up. I had a business owner ask me today, he was like, Juwan, what's the most important thing? Oh my God, I think I spelled activities wrong. That's terrible. And it's being recorded. Anyway, I know how to spell activities, okay? Don't get it twisted. I know how to spell activities. I was rushing. Anyway, I had an entrepreneur ask me today, what's the most important thing that needs to happen in the community to support business growth, development, financial independence? And I said, healthy households. People who are able to take care of their families and have disposable income. That's the best thing we can do. And that's what we do at the end of the day. We create healthy households. And we create healthy small business owners who employ the uber majority of U.S. citizens. Right? But this is a for-profit business. And while I'm out there helping to create healthier households, I need my household to be healthy too. Right? So the exposures, knowing what tool you're going to use. I roll out, if you haven't noticed, I roll out the same 2 to 3 tools every single time. The next thing, the bone, is 3 ways. Look, you are going to onboard people who do not have the gift for gab. You're going to onboard people who are, quote unquote, afraid of sales. They don't even know what sales is. They've been watching too many movies and television shows. They think sales is you grabbing people by the ankles and trickery and all that. So that's not what sales is. But those people are going to show up in your business. People are going to show up and they're going to have enthusiasm. When someone first joins, they have the highest level of enthusiasm, lowest level of competency, meaning they're likely to make some errors in judgment where aliens may abduct their network. We've all been there. You call someone up and then you can't reach them anymore because the aliens have abducted them. And 9 times out of 10 is because the approach was all wrong. They felt like they were being sold as opposed to invited to learn and make a decision for themselves, right? Somebody was being a salesperson as opposed to a sorter, right? 3-way calls, that's part of the bone. 3-way calls are effective because it helps new people who may be new to entrepreneurship. That's most people. And when I say new to entrepreneurship, that basically means you have not built a business that pays grown adult income, enough income to take care of your family. In our business, you are practicing till you hit executive director, period. End of story. You're practicing until you hit executive director. So it helps people who are practicing. You get to hear how to overcome objections. You get to hear how to respond when people have questions. You get to see exampleship. And more importantly, a 3-way is like the equivalent of 2 to 3 exposures, right? If you can put someone on the phone with someone who's crushing it, who's leading, who's having success, that is going to increase the likelihood that you're going to get a yes at the end of the day. Now, not everybody's going to say yes, but it increases the yeses. Some of us are just going out there trying to sell people. And then when you get outside your warm market or your hot market, you start dealing warm market and cold market, all of a sudden it starts getting more difficult because you're not doing 3-ways. And then if you're not doing 3-ways, when you onboard someone, they're not going to do 3-ways. And then aliens begin to abduct your business partners because they're not having the success that they desire. They're not getting good results. That's part of the bone. The purpose of an exposure is to invite someone to learn about what you do. The purpose of a presentation is to get a person to the point where they're educated enough to make an intelligent decision. That is the purpose of the presentation. It is to bring a person to the point where they can make an educated decision, where they can really sort themselves in and out. See, after someone's seen a presentation, I've done my job. Whether it's a good presentation, whether it's an okay presentation, whether it's a spectacular presentation, you know, the only people who know whether or not a presentation is good or spectacular is us, because we've seen it a million times. You know, a new person doesn't know the difference between a spectacular and good presentation. They don't even really know the difference between whether or not they're getting a bad presentation, unless you volunteer. I'm messing up, man. I suck at this, and you're getting the worst presentation on earth. They don't know. They're just receiving information, right? That's the bone of your business. If presentations are not taking place, people are not having the opportunity to make an educated decision. That's the whole purpose of doing exposures. An exposure is not to sell somebody, particularly business owners. The purpose of exposure is to get a person enough of a taste of what we do to say, you know what, I want to learn more. And you get them to a presentation. And if you're really leveraging the system correctly, you really don't want to be y'all have no idea. I cannot wait till some of y'all start doing presentations on the consistent. I cannot wait to be the person that just simply makes the invitation. You have no idea, right? To be able to just call people up and invite them to a presentation that I don't have to give. That is going to be incredible when that's happening more frequently within our organization. I cannot wait, right? So instead of giving 5 presentations over the course of a week, 5 presentations could take place in a 130-minute period of time. Because you have 5 people listening, that's 5 presentations taking place. That's part of the bone. And if you're not having presentations taking place in your business, it does not matter. It doesn't matter anything else that you do. The other stuff will improve what you're doing. But if you're not inviting new people and those new people aren't having a chance to make an educated decision, you don't have a business, because nothing else will matter. Referrals are part of the bone. If you're not asking for referrals, you eventually are going to run out of people to talk to. It is inevitable. You're going to run out of people to talk to. You're going to run out of people to invite to learn about your business. And then you have to cold call. You have to cold drop. And that is skilled trade. I'm not going to front. I'm not going to fib to you. I'm not one of those guys. You already know. I'm not going to give you this nonsense you see on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and everywhere else saying just because you chose entrepreneurship, you know, you're all that you need. You're enough. No. Entrepreneurship is skilled trade, and cold calling is skilled trade. Only 1% of the US population can effectively approach a stranger they don't know, properly qualify them, get the stranger to like, know, and trust them, and then get them to the point where they are willing to make a buying decision. That is not easy. Thank God sales is not required in our business. The only thing you really need to be able to do is just learn how to invite someone to look at a tool. But salesmanship is not required to be successful. I mean, think about it. Ms. Wells is somewhere on the beach right now with her toes in the water. She's not making any sales, but she's getting deposits every single day that she's been out of town. Salesmanship is not required. But if you're not asking for referrals, you're going to have to learn how to sell. You want to ask for referrals. I'd rather call someone that I've been referred to, where they're more likely to listen to me because I've been referred by somebody they know. It's going to be a lot easier for them. They're going to be more willing to look at a tool because they trust the person that referred you to them. They're going to be more open to you, especially if the person edified you. Edification. Right? But if you're not asking for orders, so these are the things you should be writing down every single day. How many exposures am I going to conduct? How many three-ways am I either going to involve an expert in, or I'm going to serve as a three-way partner? We're going to get into that. How many times are people going to see your presentation? And mind you, you can be on the beach like Ms. Wells. You don't have to be the one giving the presentation. You can invite 10 people to hear a presentation. 10 presentations take place. None of your time is being used because you're not giving them. So people ask all the time, how in the world are people earning $2,000, $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 months, et cetera, et cetera? It's because they have a system and they're relying on that system, other people giving the presentation so they don't have to. Right? And then asking for the referrals so you don't run out of people to talk to. And I'm not going to do a referral training, but there's trainings in Slack. There's trainings on the Team New Horizons website. There's trainings in our YouTube channel that teaches how to ask for referrals. That's part of the bone. If people are not learning how to do referrals, that's when you get that phone call from your partners talking about, I'm running out of people to talk to. What do I do next? Well, I'm afraid I'm going to run out of people to talk to. Right? That fear, false evidence appearing real, is why most people don't start their business. They get cold feet. Right? Or to listen to negative people talking ill about the business and they don't even know who the CEO is. They don't even know that we're a $1 billion company with $1 billion valuation, right? And then also part of the bone, and look, you got to eat the fruit and spit out the seed here. If you have not been into a live event, now some of you who are in markets where we may not have live events, okay. But if you are within a 30 to 45 minute drive of a live event, you are killing your business. You just don't realize it yet. Live events are part of the bone. And if you are within a 40-minute drive of a live event, trust me, you are stunting your business. That's part of the bone. People come to live events and it's a different feeling. They get to shake hands. They get to look people in the eyeballs. 90% of communication is nonverbal. They get to see that nonverbal communication. They get to see the social evidence. People live and live in person, raising their hand, excited, enthusiastic. It just can't be communicated via Zoom. It can't. Not that type of energy. If someone's a 5 in their level of interest, because they've seen a Zoom or because they've seen a video or a three-way call, that 5 becomes a 10 at a live event. So some of you, your businesses are growing more slowly than others, and you're getting frustrated sometimes. You're like, why is it that I see other people qualifying for executive director, helping other people qualify and rank advanced? Why am I on these calls and hearing about people getting $5,000 and $10,000 bonuses? I'm not receiving them. I guarantee 90% of it is because you're not attending a live event. That is literally how much it is damaging your business. That is part of the bone. You can grow slow, you can grow fast. Fast is live events, social engagement, interacting, shaking hands. You get to hear the presentation. You get to hear the testimonies. You get to get reinvigorated again, right? You're the first person to hear what comes out of your mouth. When you make the commitment to a live event, you are committing internally before the external ever becomes apparent to anyone else. You've made the ultimate commitment to your business, and you know it. You can't fake it. You can't lie to yourself. You can lie to other people. You can't lie to yourself. You're not coming to live events. You are basically saying, I'm just not that committed. And I know some of this is going to make some of y'all a little butt sore. Some of you aren't going to like what I'm saying. But you know what? I don't often do this, but I'm going to do it tonight. That's also why you're not executive directors. Ooh, I know that had to hurt. But call up all the executive directors in the company. You don't have to listen to me. Call them all up. The one thing that executive directors have in common, we all have in common, even some of the group people who are executive directors, is we tune in to live events when we can. Period. Right? That's the bone. Before you're doing anything else, these are the things you should be focused on. How many people am I going to invite? That's an exposure. How many three-ways am I going to get involved in my business? How many people are going to see a presentation on a daily basis? How many referrals am I going to acquire? How many people am I going to have at the live event so my business grows fast as opposed to slow? So that's the bone. Let's get into the meat. So those are the things that generate revenues in your business. It creates income. You're going to see some of these things are on here more than once, but what actually grows your business? Where you grow from a team of me to a team of we, right? Where it stops being about you, where you do what Ms. Wells is doing, where she has enough actively engaged partners where she can take a vacation, still be compensated. How do you get there? Well, in the beginning, you're inviting leadership to do three ways. At some point, you have to start doing three ways for your team. So when you're going to a presentation and when somebody's doing a three-way for you, you should be taking notes as if one day you're going to have to do the same. You should be watching this training as if one day you're going to be an executive director, and at some point you're going to have to learn how to share the principles and values and habits that are required for you to build a successful business. Right? I knew I was getting ready to turn the corner when I started listening to three ways. I started listening to presentations differently. I started taking notes as if one day I was going to have to do it. You have to start doing the same thing. Part of the reason why you go to the live events, I started going to the live events, of course, to get the information myself, of course, because I knew if I invited people to a live event, they would get more excited, their belief level will go up, and whether they intend on becoming a client or they intend to become a partner, it was going to take them from a 5 to a 10. But you know the other reason why I started going to live events? I wanted to hear the best presentations. I wanted to see the presentation and then look out the corner of my eye and watch how people were reacting. And if there was good reaction, I was taking notes. I was like, oh, I'm going to do that. I'm going to use that. I see the way this person's standing. I see how they're dressed. I see why they stand on one side of the projector versus the other side of the projector. I see the hand motions and gestures. I see how they're pausing. or what testimonies they're using, right? I started listening to the presentations differently. That's how you scale your business, right? Training calls and events. Yeah, at some point, in order to scale, you got to sharpen the saw. You got to get better at the game. So now you've taken care of the bone, which we know none of this stuff matters on this page if you don't take care of the bone. But now we got to get into the meat and what's required to actually scale your business. And what scales your business is sharpening the saw, getting better at the game, right? Some of us aren't chopping on the tree, which is why I started with the bone. But let's say once you start chopping on the tree, well, you want to chop on that tree with a sharp axe. Somebody that spent 3 hours sharpening their axe is going to bring down that tree a lot faster than someone that's chopping on a tree and they haven't sharpened their axe. Matter of fact, for those of you who have family members who are from the country, they'll tell you chop on a tree with a dull axe, that axe is going to rebound off that tree and it's going to cut your arm or leg off. Some of us are damaging ourselves. We're damaging our business. We're chopping on stuff with a dull axe. And we're hurting ourselves. We're hurting our confidence. We're hurting the confidence of everybody around us. We're not getting the results that we want because we're not coachable. We're not accepting the training. Big events is the meat of your business. Big live events, Super Saturdays. Our boot camp, which is transpiring on the 21st and 22nd. Do you know at that boot camp, we are going to have over $2.5 million. The people who are going to be at the boot camp training, they're earning $2.5 million a year. And there's only a couple of them. They're going to be giving the presentations. They're going to be doing the training. It's not only important that you be there, because I would like to be in front of people earning $2.5 million a year doing this part-time spare time. But you want to have your compadres, your teammates there. If you have guests who are learning about what we're doing, look, I think I give a good presentation, but I'm not doing $2.5 million a year yet. Right? The big events, that's the meat. That's the meat. Sharpening the saw, exampleship. Your teammates don't care what you say. They're watching what you do. I'm already earning more money in my sleep than people who are working, than 90% of the US population is going to work for 40, 50, 60 hours a week. So why am I still doing three-ways? Why am I still going to trainings? Why am I still going to events? Because I know you all are watching me. Your teammates are watching you. And if you're not showing up and do the things that you should be doing, it's a false expectation that they're going to do it. If you're not doing three-ways, they're not doing three-ways. You don't show up to events. Now, not only is your business growing more slowly, so are your teammates' businesses growing more slowly because you're not showing up. And then the business becomes a grind. You need to show up to events. You need to post in Slack when you're doing an exposure, when you've had a presentation take place, when you've read 10 pages of a good book per day. It lets the new people know that this is real. It's not a game. It's not a gimmick. We're not like all the other BS.com out there where people are lying and grinning. And they're either not really earning the income they say they earn, or they're earning income, but they're really not letting people know how they did it. Right? They're doing it other ways. And they're using trickery. The way you offset that, to let people know that it's real, that it's not a game, is exampleship. That's the meat of your business. That's how you grow from a team of meat to a team of wheat. And then leadership is skilled trade. Leadership is skilled trade. Leadership is the difference between being a solopreneur and being a business owner. That's the difference. First, you got to lead you by showing up with exampleship. Then you have to learn how to lead others. You have to learn how to help others do things that they would not do unless you were there helping them out. Leadership is impact. It's a difference you make in people's lives, and it's skilled trade. That's why the book of the month is so important. That's why podcasts from gurus now, not gurus. Repeat that again. People who've built, you got a lot of people out there talking about other people's businesses, or they're talking about the things they've seen or they observed. They haven't built anything, right? They've read a bunch of books. And that's messing a lot of people up out there. Because if I'm going to go through the Amazon, I'm sorry. I don't want the travel agent. I want the tour guide. I want the person who has done it, who's transversed the land and come out alive, not someone who's just observed it and they're just real articulate and good and talking about it, right? That's leadership. And you can front, you can get away with it for a moment, but eventually the rubber has to hit the road. And if you have not done the things that you're supposed to do, if you are not exercising exampleship, sooner or later, it's going to show up. You're going to be giving suggestions. You're going to be giving advice. You're going to be telling people to do things, and it ain't going to work because it didn't work for you because you never did it. Can't front. Can't fake it. Sorry. That's not what happens here. And it doesn't happen with any real entrepreneurs. So yeah, this is the meat. So we talked about the bone, the things that are mission critical, where if you don't do those things, you don't have a business. But then comes the meat, right? Where you grow muscle. You become more muscular. You become more refined. You become more attractive. People see you leveling up. They see you winning. They see that you know what you're talking about. They see that you're a guru, not a guru. They want to participate. They want to be involved with you because you're showing up. You got the social evidence. You got the receipts because you're going to the events and you're helping others. Right? That's the meat. Right? So bone, meat, and now fat. These things are important, but none of these things matter if you haven't addressed the bone and if you haven't done the meat. The first thing you want to do is you want to do, rinse, and repeat. You want to do the bone every single day. You want to focus on the meat every single day. You want to do, get better at the game, evaluate, see where you can improve, sharpen the saw, and then hit repeat. The mother of all learning is spaced repetition. The more you do something, the better you're going to get at it. Some of you are spending a lot of times, man, pontificating. Well, how do I do this? How do I approach this person? What marketing strategies going to work, this, that, and the other? I mean, that's important, but it doesn't matter if you're not even inviting people to learn about your business. Who cares about how many marketing strategy books you've read and how intelligent you think you are and how sophisticated you think you are and how articulate? None of that matters. Somebody who is not articulate, not particularly attractive, and I'm not talking on the outside, but just intrinsically attractive, right? In certain kind of ways. I'll take the person that shows up, maybe they're not their best yet. They're becoming, right? But I'll take that person any day of the week over somebody who has all the tools but no execution. But at some point, yeah, you should be reading marketing books. At some point, you should be taking advanced trainings. At some point, you should be doing masterminds and accountability groups and following up with individuals to find out, okay, that's more effective. I can sharpen the saw here. Okay, this tool, okay, I can get a little better. But none of that stuff matters if you're not doing the work. This is the fact that a lot of y'all spend time on pontificating, right? Planning. You know, it reminds me of the quote from Mike Tyson. He said, everybody has a plan so they get hit in the face. None of your planning is going to matter if you are not inviting people to learn about your business. No pontificating is going to matter. No amount of thinking is going to matter if you're not doing the base work. But yes, eventually you want to build on top of what you're doing. You want to get better at it. This one, once again, eat the fruit, spit out the seed. I know I'm going to hurt some people's feelings. Man, there are people that I see, not just in our businesses. Keep in mind, I work across a lot of different businesses. I work with a lot of different business owners, and I'm watching on social media. And I'm like, man, this person is spending more time posting their feelings and what inspires and motivates than they are doing the work. I spoke with someone today. I was like, man, you've been on social media all day today. How many people did you learn? How many people did you invite to learn about your business? You only invited 2 people to learn about your business, but you've been on social media for like 3-4 hours. Are you kidding me? That's the fact. Social media is not going to build your business. You can post 1 million posts. It can be smacking, entertaining, funny, inspiring. But if you're not inviting people to learn about your business, it does not matter. That's fact. No, you should not be on social media all day, every day. No one is going to enroll in our product based on a social media post. I'm sorry, they're not. A social media post will invite interest. A social media post will raise an eyebrow. A social media post might make people more aware that you exist, but they're not going to purchase anything just based on social media alone. You have to reach out to them, grab their shoulders, their hands. You have to invite them in to learn about what you do. Companies spend millions of dollars for a 30-second commercial spot, not because they believe you're going to buy. They want you to be aware that they exist. The ads and the marketing is just designed to make the ground more fertile. But that's why they turn around, they spend money on the personnel to call you, to email you, to text you, to reach out to you, to invite you to make a decision. Some of you are social mediaing yourselves out of business. Just being real. You're spending too much time on the fact. So yeah, post on social media. I'm not saying don't post on social media, but you better reach out to those people. Because while you're steady posting on social media, people like me are watching those posts, looking to see who's perking up, looking to see who's taking an interest, who's liking, and I'm going to reach out to those people. You made the ground more fertile on me, but you didn't reach out to them. Somehow you thought social media was going to build. No, it's not. You better reach out to people. You better pick up the phone, send an instant messenger, a text message, phone call, something. Some of us want to spend time trying to figure out what CRM I'm going to use, and lead generating tools and software and AI. And we're spending all these time learning about all these tools. None of the tools matter. A CRM is a customer relationship or contact management system, client relationship management system. You have to have clients or prospects for the CRM to be useful. If you're spending $20, $50, $300, $1,000, $3,000 on CRM and lead generating tools, but you don't have people to put in the tools, you are wasting your money. You're wasting it. You're spending too much time on the sugar, on the fat. All the fat is designed to enhance what you're doing already. So I'm gonna go back. The bone. This is mission critical. You do nothing else before you do this. If you're not doing these things, you should not be even thinking about all the other stuff. None of the stuff matters. You should be inviting people to learn about your business every single day, depending on how fast you want to get there. I didn't want to wait 5 years to become a multimillionaire, so I'm stepping on the pedal now. You do 2 to 3 exposures a day, invite 2 to 3 people per day, and you will get there in 5 years, or perhaps less. But you know, that's kind of like the methodical way to get there. If you want to accelerate and get there within the next year, you want to do what I did last year and say, you know what the hell with this? I'm not showing up anymore as not exec director. I was doing between 5 and 10 exposures a day. You would think it would be more than that. It was just a couple more than what the average Joe does. But snowflakes turn into snowballs. You should be doing 3 ways, where you're inviting somebody else to talk to your prospects, so your prospects don't feel like they're being sold to, they feel like they're being educated. And you must edify the expert. Some of y'all, It's some more people need to be listening to this. Some of y'all are getting online saying, this is my partner. This is the person I work with. This is my friend. This is someone I like. No, this is someone that's had tremendous success. They've been a mentor to me in this business. They've been so helpful. They've helped a lot of people. They've earned a lot of money. They've had $10,000 days in this business. And you owe it to yourself to give them some respect. You got to put respect on the name of the expert. All right, I'm done with that. You should be inviting people to listen, look at, or view a presentation. Acquiring referrals and getting people to events because they make bigger decisions at live events. That is the bone, once again. Before anything else, nothing else matters unless you deal with the bone. Once again, the meat. So the bone generates revenues. You're not generating revenues, nothing else matters. The meat is how you scale. So you go from inviting people to do 3-ways for you, and you taking notes so you can do 3-ways for other people. You come to the live events and you start taking notes on the events. Watch how people move so you can move in the way that they move. You get on the training calls and events and you invite people to it. You should never be on the training by yourself. You should always have 1, 2, 3, 4 your partners with you. The bigger the event, the bigger the decision, right? Super Saturdays. You sharpen the saw. 10 pages of a good book is about a book and a half. That's 18 books a year. You read 18 books on financial planning, you're going to be a real good financial planner. You read 18 books on leadership, you're going to be a better leader. You read 18 books on business development, you're going to be a better business developer. 10 pages a day, that's all it takes. 10 pages a day. And you've read 18 books at the end of the year. Showing up and leadership is a secret sauce. It's a secret weapon. It is the superpower. It's what separates a solopreneur, someone who cannot scale beyond 3 or 5 people, to someone that can scale to 5, 20, 100, 5,000, 10,000 people. It's just leadership. But once again, you cannot lead people somewhere where you have not gone. You cannot help people grow in areas where you have not grown. And then last but not least, then you deal with the fat. Then you do this other stuff. But you got to deal with the bone. You got to build the muscle. You got to put muscle on that bone. Make the bone attractive so people can see you winning. Start showing that social evidence. And then once you're doing that, you still do rinse and repeat. You don't stop doing those things. But then once you start doing that, meaning you're executive director for our purpose of discussion tonight, right? You're not practicing anymore. You're building. Then you start focusing on that fact, right? All right, I'm going to press pause. Questions, feedback, clarification. Give it to me for the next 5 minutes. I want to jump off because I want to invite some people to the call tonight too. Think I'm done building? I ain't going to let y'all outbuild me.
Well, I want to say something. I actually was inviting people while you were talking. I was writing notes and inviting people. So thank you, because it was actually motivating me to keep inviting people. And I actually, following the money, I invited a doctor that I'm dealing with right now that's helping me with some services. And I was like, hey, can I help? Do you have a few minutes at 8:30 tonight?
Yep.
And the other thing is invited someone to learn about the business. This woman had been communicating, but she worked 2 jobs and it was hard. And then I sent her a sizzle and she said, oh, I had prepaid legal in the past. So I feel like I kind of dropped the ball on this one, so I could use some techniques with that, because she said that she didn't have a good experience. And where do you go from that? I tried to say, hey, that was back in the day. It's been revamped. It's been, I was like, you really need to check it out now. And she said it was like 2022 when she had the service and she wasn't happy with it, with a landlord tenant situation. Okay. Just leave her alone.
So we're going to have a discussion offline about this because I don't want to spend 10 minutes talking about that. I want to do an additional training.
Okay.
But there's 2 things I typically do. My experience has been 99.9% of the time is if someone's had a bad experience with the service, it's because somebody didn't explain it to them right. 99% of the time, they're asking the firm, the attorneys, to do something that we don't do.
Gotcha.
And I think many of us in our organization, notice the language I'm using. In our organization, we take for granted that we've all been trained to do the presentation right. Right? You know, I turn a-hole real quick when I find out the presentation isn't being done right, because I don't want that result. Right? And you ever dealt with it, you start messing up the presentation, you're going to hear from me. It ain't going to be a fun conversation, right? Then also, what else do we train in our organization? We train people to do what? Make sure they use it. We teach them how to use it. I spent 2 hours today literally teaching people how to use the service, because if they know how to use it, they're going to have a good experience. But if you have not taught someone what the service actually does, if you have not taught someone how to utilize the service, then bad outcomes transpire. And that's 99% of it. And we can have a further discussion about how to deal with that, right? But thank you, Ms. Harris. I mean, there's a reason why Ms. Harris is crushing it, y'all. Ms. Harris, we're going to be recognizing her as senior director next month and beyond. Because I don't know what's gotten into her. Actually, I do know what's gotten into her. But the last month or so, she's been about the bone. Like Ms. Harris she's been a different person over the last 30 days. And she demonstrated it tonight. I would be doing the same thing. If I wasn't doing the training, I'd be listening to the training, taking notes. I'd be steady text messaging in the background, inviting everybody to that call tonight. That's how I know you about to win, Ms. Harris, because I will be doing the exact same thing. I love it.
Yeah, sent it out to 6 people.
Yep, there it is. Invitations, exposures, invitations. All right, additional questions, clarification. Some of y'all need to be asking questions. If you're not Performance Club qualifying, if you're not rank advancing, if you're not getting deposits with commas in it, or at least one comma in it, you should have questions. Hit the mic in the bottom left-hand corner. Because after this ends, I'm going to be focused on building too.
I got another question. If nobody else don't have a question.
No, Ms. Harris, let's do it. Hey, take advantage of the ring earners experience, right? Let's go.
For those who are younger than 30 and they get a membership, how do you get them to be excited about using the product? What would you recommend in getting them excited about using the membership? Like, focused on traffic.
Oh, that's a real
police interactions.
That's a real general question, right? We got to be more specific, right? So, so this is what I would say. If you're a 30-year-old and you have a child, or you're 30-year-old and you're married, and you have a job, I'd be using it to ask questions about my retirement plan. A lot of people have 401ks and IRAs, and they don't know they can utilize those funds, take the money out tax-free to buy a house or in the event of a medical emergency. There are certain investment vehicles that you can use to actually take money out and make investments in other things. I'd be getting them to utilize that plan. If you're in your 30s, you're leveling up, you're earning money, you're trying to figure out how do I put this money to work, man? How do I get more? How can I have more? Right? I tell them, why don't you call up a law firm and ask them about how much in the way of taxes you can deduct from your income just for having a home-based business. Wait till they have a phone call with the law firm about that. When they find out they could be keeping $1,000 to $2,000 to $5,000, sometimes as much as $10,000 of their income in their pocket, as opposed to sending Uncle Sam. You know what a difference that'll make in most people's budget? Just to have an extra $2,000, even an extra $10,000 a year. That's you putting a down payment on a very nice house 3 years from now. That's you upgrading your vehicle every 2 to 3 years. Just by having a home-based business, put them to work. Tell them to get their estate plan done, right? Tell them, ask if they're a business owner, tell them, why don't you call the law firm and ask them about how you can use your children to eliminate your taxes and put your money back in your own pocket again. Man, that is huge. That is huge. So you start up a home-based business, you pay your children to do small stuff, laborious stuff. You're taking money out of your pocket to pay them, but you don't have to pay taxes on that money, and then you're circulating it right back into your pocket again. Tell them, call the law firm and ask them how you do that. Right? Aside from the traffic tickets and people just jamming you up and taking advantage of you and overcharging you and all the other BS.com that happens in life. It doesn't have to be all stick. It can be carrot. Right? Think critically about how you can use an attorney to put more money. People think about attorneys in terms of keeping themselves out of trouble when BS.com happens. And yes, they're very valuable for that, but you can use attorneys to put more money in your pocket. You can ask them how to do things that make your household more profitable. Right? All right, one last question before I jump off. Any clarification about the difference between fat, meat, and bone? Questions going once. Questions going twice. Questions going thrice. All right, everybody. I wish you all tremendous success. I celebrate success in advance. Have an incredible evening. Take advantage of the open house that's taking place tonight. Use the last 10, 15 minutes to invite people to it. And I will look forward to connecting with you all over the coming days. If you're not performance skill qualified, we need to talk. If you are performance skill qualified, go help somebody else do the exact same thing. All right, everybody, have a good night.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
You're welcome.
Good night.
Thank you, Bird.
You're welcome.